Robert H. Treman State Park is home to some of the Finger Lakes region's most interesting geology, which is responsible for the remarkable scenery here. Let's take a look at some of the stories that this landscape has to tell us. Enfield Creek is the main stream that runs through Robert H. Treman State Park. Enfield Creek's valley is rugged and charming. There are waterfalls, high cliffs, and even lush forests. This beautiful little canyon is known as Enfield Glen. The creek begins its journey in the hills to the west of the park and flows east through Enfield Glen to the Cayuga Valley south of Cayuga Lake, as it has since the Ice Age more than 10,000 years ago. During the Ice Age, huge mountain range-sized sheets of ice plowed south from Canada, covering most of New York State. The passing ice, perhaps as much as a mile deep, shaped the Finger Lakes region, leaving behind long grooved valleys with lakes in them, including Cayuga Lake. Since glacial times, streams have eroded gorges in the steep sides of the Cayuga Valley, including Enfield Glen. Geologically speaking, Enfield Creek runs through the roots of two gorges. One much older with forested flanks, the other a newer passage through bedrock. The older gorge was created by a stream during a pause in the Ice Age, and was filled in with glacial earth by the most recent passage of the glacier more than 10,000 years ago. Since then, Enfield Creek has re-excavated much of the root of this older, wider, and deeper gorge. In the upper park, Enfield Creek has taken a detour from the root of the old buried gorge and is cut through solid rock since the most recent visit by the glaciers, producing the most spectacular section of the Glen. The rock exposed in the cliffs of Enfield Glen is nearly 400 million years old and is mostly shale and siltstone derived from clay and silt deposited in an ancient sea that covered much of New York State. Soft shale and the more resistant siltstone occur in alternating layers. The rock layers are cut by enormous vertical cracks called joints by geologists. The joints resulted from enormous pressures exerted on the region hundreds of millions of years ago when the Appalachian Mountains formed to the south in Pennsylvania. Two sets of joints meet at nearly right angles in Enfield Glen, and they control the shape and direction of the erosion of the gorge. Because the joint pattern in Enfield Glen is so rectangular, many visitors suspect that people quarried out this gorge. Geologists even call the phenomenon architectural jointing, though it is entirely natural. Where joints cross the gorge, waterfalls often form on siltstone ledges. The two kinds of gorges at Enfield Glen, the rectangular jointing pattern and 115 feet high Lucifer Falls, give Enfield Glen its unique and remarkable scenic character. To experience these wonders for yourself, take a leisurely stroll along the gorge trail in the upper park. A park naturalist can help you further unfold the geological stories of Enfield Glen. Look for posters throughout the park that list times for gorge tours and other activities. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the scenic waterfalls and cliffs of Robert H. Treman State Park, but it's also a delightful place to immerse yourself in living nature. Enfield Creek threads the length of the park. flowing through both rugged and forested sections of its charming valley known as Enfield Glen. Though the park is surrounded by lands that have been farmed, the glen itself has never been cleared for agriculture. Enfield Glen preserves a remarkable mature woodland known as a hemlock northern hardwood forest, dominated by eastern hemlock trees, sugar maples, yellow birches, basswood, white pines, and other trees that thrive on the cool, shady slopes. Hemlock trees often cover the steepest, shadiest places in the glen. Oak and hickory trees grow on the rims of the gorge. And large sycamore trees grow near Enfield Creek in the upper park. Delicate ferns, mosses, and moss-like liverworts grow on the damp walls of the upper gorge. The moist, rich soils beneath the forest support beautiful spring wildflowers. Wild columbine blooms in May and early June on rocky ledges. Herb Robert likes rocky places, as does the tiny fern called maidenhair spleenwort. The beautiful, rich forest of Enfield Glen is home to many woodland birds, including warblers, thrushes, scarlet tanagers, woodpeckers, and owls. Eastern phoebes and Louisiana water thrushes live along Enfield Creek. Ravens sometimes nest on cliffs, while crows fly overhead, and great blue herons look for minnows and crayfish in the stream. Ask for a copy of the park's list of birds. Enfield Creek is a small stream. Brook trout and brown trout swim in its waters, and rainbow trout migrate up from Cayuga Lake to spawn. Many fish feed on stream insects and other invertebrates. Join a park naturalist in the summer to look for some of the unusual creatures you can find hiding under a rock. Four-footed creatures live in Enfield Glen as well. Some like to visit your campsite. Don't feed or try to befriend wild animals for both your safety and theirs. Some animals, including raccoons, may carry rabies. If you see an animal that looks sick or is behaving strangely, or if you have had contact with a wild animal, tell a park staff person right away. To learn more about the plants and animals of Enfield Glen, check the schedule of naturalist programs on park bulletin boards.